Oh, for Florida Atlantic, you know, it's all about backcourt efficiency. They have three kids, Botley, Trapp, and Poole. When they play well, they are a very good team. And all three of those guys can shoot the three, and they can defend. And then a revved-up Raffington. He's going up against one of the top players in Conference USA, and Hunter. He needs to be ready. He needs to be up for the challenge. 14 points, 10 rebounds the other night. Another performance like that could bode well for them.
As we look at those starting lineups, the Owls are just glad to have everyone back. This is only the second game all year where they've had all bodies available, including Jackson Trapp, who's missed the last 3 games with an injury. He's back in the lineup tonight. Raffington was out for an extended period. They also had Penn, Botley, and Poole. Poole is the leading scorer of the Owls. Now for the Miners, Washburn, Cooper, Harris, Lang, Hunter. Talk about injuries, Tim. And the Miners have gone through it. In fact, only 8 available players tonight.
Yeah, and Coach Floyd talked about that at the shoot-around. But, you know, this time of year, a lot of coaches shorten their roster anyway. They do it by choice. Coach Floyd didn't have a choice, but he's got an awfully good top 7 or 8 kids.
One of the guys that's out for the Miners tonight, Matt Wilms, will probably be out for about 3 weeks with a stress fracture in his foot. Wilms, a big 7-footer from Canada, he is out for tonight. But they do have Cedric Lang, and I think you're going to really enjoy watching this guy play. I saw him at Marshall, and Lang is sort of a double-double guy himself. Tim Floyd, well, what more can you say about this guy? He's been everywhere, and he's been successful everywhere. Starting at Idaho, with New Orleans, Iowa State, USC, with the Bulls, with the Hornets. And here's a guy who's trying to make a name for himself. 1 year as a head coach in the NBA with the Pistons. He was also an NBA executive, and he said he always wanted to teach, always looking for that opportunity, and he thinks he's found it here in Boca Raton.
A couple of NBA-level coaches. Of course, people think of Tim Floyd as a college guy, but of course, he spent a few years in the NBA as well. And looking at some of the sets that these teams run, reminiscent of NBA games. So it should be interesting tonight.
We see the Miners in their road orange uniforms and the Owls in their home white. Mark Whitehead is our lead official, along with Paul Jansen and Rick Crawford, and we're underway. FAU looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 7 of their last 8, but boy, have they been competitive.
And they've been on the road for a good part of this season. So they got a few home games coming up starting tonight. They want to try to take advantage.
Work it around to Trapp. Trapp's had a foot injury. He's missed the last 3 games. Oh, good look inside. And Penn bobbled the ball a little bit and missed a bunny.
Didn't catch it clean. That cost him.
Here's Hunter.
Nice.
Oh, what a move.
Oh, my goodness. Hunter. It starts early. Hunter to the basket, and Penn and Raffington better bring their A game on the defensive end. This kid brings it every night.
How many scouts did you say are here to watch that kid?
12 scouts for what we were told before the game, tonight's game. And, you know, he doesn't let that affect him. Almost every night there's an NBA scout.
Good move by Marquand Botley.
Well, Marquand Botley, all-freshman team last season, Conference USA. He's got a chance to be special. He's a little guy, but he brings big game and big energy.
The Miners remember him. It was Botley last year who banged home a 3 with 3 seconds to go. And the only other meeting between these two teams, and there's the inside play of Cedric Lang.
That was down in El Paso as well. So Botley certainly could be the guy that Tim Floyd remembers from last season.
Penn, more of a defensive guy, more of a shot blocker, rebounder, and distributor. And here he goes to Justin Raffington.
Well, interesting defensive strategy there. They were face guarding Botley, so maybe they do remember that bank shot from last year. And they left Penn on the island inside and Raffington, so there's not going to be a lot of double teams, at least early on, from Coach Floyd's team.
It wasn't just the bank shot. He scored 23 in that game.
Yeah.
In and out, no good for Harris.
It wasn't just that shot. You're right. This kid capable of erupting.
There he goes into the land of the Giants. No. And cleaned by Lang.
Look at that. Power forward guards and centers on this team can push you in transition. They feel the need for speed as well.
So you feel the need.
Need for speed?
You need the speed. Harris back out. 8 seconds on the shot clock. That was sort of a forced shot in traffic, and Raffington clears the glass.
Well, Lang was up against the shot clock, so he had to get it up there. But a very good first, really defensive effort by Florida Atlantic so far. That possession right there is a money play for UTEP. They executed to perfection what they were ready for.
There's Poole. Nice dish inside to Penn. He's fouled on the play. Foul is on Vince Hunter, his first.
You know, Hunter has fouled out of 3 games this year. He's got 63 fouls. Him and Cedric Lang has also fouled out 3 games. They're in the 60s in fouls this time of year. That's a lot of fouls, so that's something to watch out for.
Almost stolen, but Penn gets it back.
Now it's zone being deployed primarily because it was taken out underneath the bucket. You don't want to give up anything easy in the man-to-man getting caught up in screens.
Trap from the wing. Off target. Maybe a little bit of rush showing there for Jackson Trapp. Washburn gives it up. It's a fun battle to watch, isn't it? Nice ball fake by Lang. Got Raffington in the air.
Raffington did a pretty decent job of holding his ground. We're in the stand your ground state here in Florida. But that time, unable to not foul him. A great job by Lang to get
Tim,
that.
when we were talking to Coach Curry, first thing he said when we asked him his concern tonight, size.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned about the size of it.
Yeah, you know, again, they don't go very deep. But Lang, and they're missing one of the 7-footers in Williams. But, you know, they have Washburn 6'8", Lang 6'10".
Cooper Vint, 6'11",
coming off the bench.
1 of 2 at the line to give UTEP a 1-point lead under the 16-minute mark in the first half. The Miners come in with a record of 14-7, 6-3 in CUSA. The Owls just 1-7. But you see how this game has started, and you see there's not a lot of disparity between these two teams in terms of talent and the way they're playing right now.
And Coach Curry said it in the shoot-around. There's been very few games where he's had a full clip, if you will. Not a lot of bullets in that gun at times, but tonight he's got them all.
Well, he's got Vince Hunter, and that's maybe all you need. A guy who averages almost a double-double. This guy can electrify. We already talked about the fact they only have about 8 guys available tonight, and 6 of those 8 are the guys that are eating up the minutes.
Julian Washburn rarely leaves the court, 35 minutes per game. But you see those top 6 guys, they all play at least 25 minutes a game. And again, quality in those 6, and they'll bring in Hooper Vint off the bench tonight, the 7th guy in that group. But don't expect them to go much deeper than that, unless, of course, they're forced to due to foul trouble.
The Miners are 3-4 away from home, and they lost those last 2 games. And in each of those 2 games, Tim, they gave up more than 70 points. And you wonder if the legs are starting to get tired as we enter February.
Always a concern when you're going those kinds of minutes. Call for traveling there. But, you know, they're young, Dave. They're not guys like you and me that think about minutes and pitch counts and things like that. These guys just want to play.
Trapp looking inside. Raffington just can't get free of Lang. Both big guys playing right now for the Owls. And that's C.J. Turman, a freshman from Madison, Georgia.
He's a freshman that they love And he comes off the bench now. He's had a few starts, but he's a guy that can electrify this crowd playing on the rim.
And you have both Turman and Raffington playing at the same time. Now you got to be concerned about the size of the Owls.
And that's more of they're trying to match the size of UTEP. Tough move.
Woo, look at that. Hunter just goes right around Raffington.
Oh, stolen inbound pass by Omega. And he sticks that one in. So just a silly turnover.
So while we weren't watching, another quick two by Omega Harris, and it's 9-6 all of a sudden by the Miners. And almost another steal by Harris.
Just a silly inbounds play, really very casual, and Omega Harris takes advantage.
Oh, second foul here on Vince Hunter.
Yeah, and that was kind of a cheap one there. Got caught up in a double team. And a little bit too much body contact, so that could be big. We'll see if Coach Floyd will roll the dice and play him with 2 fouls, or if he'll sit him for a full 14 minutes. That's a lot of time to sit a guy of that caliber.
Don't you think score will dictate what he does?
Yeah, if it gets too out of hand, he'll have to go back with a...
In the hands of Raffington. What a pass.
Is he revved up? We talked about that in the open. Revved up Raffington. He came to play.
He's just happy to be playing again after suffering a stress fracture. Missed several games. Back in there, and that's why Michael Curry is shaking his head. Like, yeah, we got some more weapons again.
Yeah, I think Curry liked that last play, and that was a great set off the inbounds. And even against zone, you have an advantage as an offensive team inbounding underneath your own offensive goal.
There's the 6'11" kid we told you about, Hooper Vince.
Vince not shy, comes in, tries a stroke, one from the free throw line, throws up a brick.
Poole hasn't even looked to shoot yet. Botley turns the corner, and there he is.
Oh my goodness. On that play, Dave, 2 UTEP forwards crashed into one another, setting basically a screen on themselves, and that freed up Botley for that pass.
Three-pointer off target, no good, but there's the rebound by Lang, the stick back, and a foul on Trapp.
Lang is a guy that puts on his hard hat, brings his lunch pail, and just comes to work. He sets up camp in the paint off of this miss, goes to the opposite side where you're supposed to go on shots from the corner. He just simply outworks C.J. Turman, and Jackson Trapp just too small for the big guy.
Already 5 points for Cedric Lang. He's been in double figures in 4 of the last 5. He's had 20 rebounds too in the last 2 games.
That's grown man activity right there. So now some extended pressure here. Washburn on the ball. A very good on ball defender.
Not just good. We're talking outstanding.
Yeah,
how about this statement from Coach Floyd earlier today to us about Washburn? He is, in all my years of coaching, the best on-ball defender I have ever coached at any level.
Absolutely extraordinary statement, and he stood by it. I mean, he said this kid can guard all 5 positions at this level, and he said, I'm telling you, Dave, Tim, he can guard the 1, 2, and the 3 at the next level right now. Now, that's not saying he's an NBA player per se, but that particular skill set he possesses.
Raffington. What's the battle of the big so far here, Tim?
Well, you know, home sweet home for Raffington. He's feeling comfortable, and you know Coach Curry, Coach Snow, Charlemagne, all those guys over there, Coach Lang, they've been in his ear. You got a big matchup tonight. Are you coming to play? And so far he has.
And this one, illegal pick inside. Or no, 3 seconds in the lane. That's what they call it. 3 seconds in the lane. Now Javier Lacunza will check in for the Owls.
You don't see 3 seconds called very often. So, you know, he had to be in there a good solid minute for them to blow the whistle.
It's interesting that Coach Curry was concerned about the size, and what's he done? He's gone inside. Almost all their points inside. And 2 more by Raffington. Crashing the glass.
UTEP did a great job initially of handling the ball screen, but they keep coming at you in waves, and finally they submit it. But it's the second chance activity around the bucket that gets it done.
Pull-up jumper, good. That's C.J. Cooper.
Cooper is a kid that gives them steady minutes. Again, we talked about 30 minutes a game, 7 points a game, just 38% field goal, but he's able to stroke it when you leave him that open. Good spacing for Coach Curry's Florida Atlantic group.
Raffington didn't walk with it. So we get a timeout, but Raffington is making his name known here as Florida Atlantic is taking the lead.
Raffington going to work in the paint. He loses it, no worry. Triple team, doesn't matter. Splash in your eyes.
And 3 rebounds.
Yeah, and he's a guy, second leading scorer on this team, or fourth leading scorer on this team. We talked about those guards stepping up, but already Raffington 4 for 4 from the field. He's been inside close where he likes to operate. He will step out and shoot a 3. Not a very good 3-point shooter, but look for him to try to dominate the paint, especially while Hunter's sitting over there on the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. Raffington coming off a double-double against FIU. He had 14 points, 10 rebounds.
Well on his way to that right now.
Here's Cooper. He just doesn't turn it over. You talked about him being steady. Only 1 turnover for Cooper in the last 3 games.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
And that's a travel. That's Urban Morris, one of those 6 guys we showed you that gets a lot of minutes for Tim Floyd on Miners.
Yeah,
but a turnover there.
JUCO transfer out of Tallahassee community, shooting 49% from downtown in Conference USA games. And his scoring average is up to 13.3 in CUSA games. He's been quiet tonight, but he's a guy that can carry the scoring load at times, and they'll need somebody to do that with Hunter on the bench.
Massey's in there along with DeAndre Johnson.
Here's the double. They left him alone a few times, too many.
3-pointer out, no good, and Washburn's got it. Morris inside Lang. I could watch that matchup all day. That's on Lang and Raffington. From the short corner, no. Here comes Trapp. Boy, did you see how quick Washburn closed?
Great footwork. I mean, once Coach Floyd told us about him, we started looking at to see for ourselves where that defensive skill is, and it's obvious. This kid can move his feet with the best of them.
Trapp loses the handle. Raffington is there, has it blocked.
I was in a foul there. A lot of contact underneath the bucket. Raffington couldn't convert as a result.
Good save by Cooper. And here he is at midcourt.
Both these teams are doing a great job of getting back in transition. We talked about getting early offense. We haven't seen a lot of that.
Nice follow by Hooper Vint.
How about that name, Dave? You talk about a basketball player name made from heaven. Hooper.
Yeah, you couldn't be a baseball player if your name is Hooper.
Not allowed. No, you can't play baseball with your name Hooper. If your name's Homer, you can't play basketball, right?
It doesn't hurt that he's 6'11" either.
Yeah.
Kelvin Penn with an illegal pick. Is it fair to say these two teams are really playing good defense when both teams are shooting 50% or better?
Well, you know, they're not giving up easy buckets, and everybody's had to work for what they're getting. So, yeah, you can play good defense. Basketball is an offensive sport. So you're going to score. You're not going to shut anybody out. The question is, are you making it tough on them every possession?
Little backdoor play. Pass fumbled by Vint, but he is able to regroup and find the handle.
Cooper Vint with a couple of buckets off of Tim Floyd's bench. And again, we talked about nursing Hunter to halftime. And so far, they've kept it close. They actually have the lead.
Scoring drought of almost 3.5 minutes for the Owls. This is what they do, and one of the reasons they're 1-7 in CUSA. They go into these little funks from time to time.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you got a couple of guys out there who don't play a lot of minutes. So where do you get your points with this group if you're Florida Atlantic?
That's pretty good right there. Nice catch and Soft touch off the glass by Lacunza. No one's hit a 3 yet in this game. FAU 0 for 4. UTEP 0 for 1. You talked about a need for speed. The Owls have picked up on your play.
Javier Lacunza from Pamplona, Spain, running with the Bulls.
You saw Florida Atlantic was against an Ivy League opponent, Harvard.
Yeah, that's right. You and I did a game back in November. This is a different Florida Atlantic team. But then you see Vince Hunter. There's his numbers. He's the guy the NBA scouts are here to watch. They didn't want to watch him sit down, so Coach Floyd threw him a bone and throws him back in there. He's got 2 fouls, though. We'll have to monitor that. If he gets a third in the first half, this could change the complexion of this game.
How does he play, and how does Florida Atlantic play against him, knowing he's got 2 fouls and he's such a key figure?
Well, he certainly has to be delicate as he moves, gets himself out of exchanges and things. Doesn't want to pick up anything cheap. These officials look good, though. They know they're not going to give him a cheap call for his 3rd foul. And then, you know, offensively, he can still be aggressive, but he's got to play under control. 1-3-1 trap now here. And again, something Coach Curry worked on. These guys are well prepared. Wow! You talk about busting a zone. That's your zone buster right there. Jackson Trapp from downtown.
You love shooters. You were a shooter. You were kind of displaying some of your shooting skills earlier today at shoot-around.
Still got it.
Still got it, yeah. And his form is really classic, isn't it?
It is. You know, great cut right there. Jackson Trapp late on the rotation cost him a layup. But you're right, that is some great form, and that's part of being able to shoot from such long distance. His shooting coach is one of my old teammates, actually, Charles Richardson, who lives down here in Florida. He lives in Orlando, drove down to watch this game in person. And he wanted to see Trapp, but I'm sure he wanted to see his old boy Scar as well.
They cover on Trapp pretty quickly. Last touch by Raffington.
Wow, that was a good defensive play there. Raffington would have been better served to try to let that go. He would have retained possession.
Now the team has had more than a 4-point lead in this contest.
And you know, this is the nature of conference basketball. It doesn't matter the standings, who's at the top, who's at the bottom, especially on the road. Life can be tough.
Blocked by Raffington. Poole slips. And here comes Harris the other way.
Whoa.
A need for speed? Yes. Oh, no.
He smoked a bunny.
3-pointer. Just like that. Irvin Morris.
And how wild did this game get?
Oh, man.
In a matter of seconds. A lot of open floor activity, but not a lot of buckets until that splash down from downtown by UTEP.
Morris, by the way, has averaged 13 points a game in CUSA play. And there's Botley with the answer. Starting to heat up now offensively.
And Poole still really hasn't gotten it going. And you just hope that missing that dunk doesn't cost. He's just 6 feet tall, but he's a skywalker. Unfortunately, got hung a little bit.
And another 3. The threes are starting to rain home for the Miners.
How about Hooper Vent coming off the bench, giving Tim Floyd's group a needed lift offensively?
Okay, I'm going to tell you why you don't guard Hooper Vent from 3-point line. And then Raffington answers at the other end. All right, something's going crazy here.
Yeah.
Because Raffington, up until then, was 2 for 14 from 3-point
guard
land.
him there.
Hooper Vent was 2 for 14 from 3-point land this year. So both of those guys, what is going on?
So now they're both 3 for 15.
It's got to be a full moon here in Boca Raton. They clear out. Hunter tries to step to the bench. Good trap by Poole.
Nice time.
And a block. There's Raffington.
I'll tell you what, Dave. That's why you never take for granted a guy's going to make a breakaway layup. Great job by Raffington to stick with it.
Good point.
Great defense, too, by the way, to negate a layup.
Another turnover. Poole again. Blocked again. Wow, end-to-end action here between the Owls and the Miners.
And I tell you what, wide open court, you're going to get a couple of these splashes from downtown because you can't get your matchups. For the night so far, they need to get him going. But Raffington, 12 points on 6 for 7 shooting, 4 rebounds already. I mean, look at those numbers. We said he needed to be revved up. That's a full game's numbers for a lot of guys. A good game. And already he has risen to the task guarding Hunter.
Meanwhile, Hunter with 4 points in this game. And remember, he sat for a while with 2 fouls.
He did. And Coach Floyd rolling the dice here. Let's see if he can ride him for another 3 minutes without getting that third.
Poole throws up a long 3 against that zone. Maybe that's a little frustration by Solomon Poole.
Yeah, you know, he missed that breakaway dunk. And then they had another breakaway that got blocked from behind. He's struggling a little bit. But he's a talented individual. He'll step up.
Slapped away. Good defense by Penn. Now 7 turnovers by UTEP. And that's 7 now for the Owls. Boy, Harris plays with a palm, doesn't he, for a freshman?
Omega Harris, I love watching him play. That's it, like I told you, a shoot-around. Some guys just come ready-made at the college level, out of high school.
Well, you wanted to know, how does Hunter get almost 10 rebounds a game? I think you just saw it.
Yeah, relentless pursuit is the only way to describe the way this kid plays. You know, he's been compared to Kenneth Faried in the NBA. Kenneth Faried played in the OVC, but he made it to the big time because of his relentless pursuit of the basketball. I believe Hunter has a better skill set in terms of handling the ball, in terms of being able to pass. He can step out and shoot, and he's relentless. And that's why the scouts are on him. Because at 6'8", with that engine, if he can do a few things and just not throw the ball away, which clearly he can handle the ball, he can handle himself well, he's got a chance. He's got a good chance.
11 double-doubles this year. Last time a player for UTEP averaged a double-double, and he's got a real good chance to do that this year, was 1982.
Yeah, you know, walking double-doubles don't grow on trees. And, you know, you have one game where you have 5 or 4 rebounds, and there goes your average, you know. So to do that night in and night out, just exceptional.
Lacunza splits the defense, gets it to Raffington, who it's a rare miss for him, but poked away.
Well, he's drawing much more of a crowd, a sense of urgency in the post when Raffington touches it in the paint. UTEP doing a great job of blocking from behind.
Three-pointer halfway down and back out again. There's Raffington. What a night.
Talk about relentless pursuit. Raffington at the other end, matching the energy so far of Hunter.
14 points, 5 rebounds for Justin Raffington. Consider this. The most points he's scored in any game this year is 15. That's a 5-second goal. So rare turnover for C.J. Cooper.
We've seen 3 seconds and a closely guarded 5 seconds in the same game. I'm telling you, that's rare. Normally, a guy will just pick his dribble up. You get a new 5 seconds. But just a careless turnover that time by UTEP. And to me, Coach Floyd was talking about this at shoot-around. You know, being on the road with a team that has solid guards like this team, doesn't matter the records. You know, this is a dangerous game. It's not going to be easy to come in here and just win.
So whistle and a foul on C.J. Cooper. It's only the 4th team foul, though, on the Miners this half.
Yeah. And Florida Atlantic only has 6 on their next one. They'll be in the bonus.
So the Owls will take their timeout. They use it or lose it timeout here. With 1:10 remaining in the first half. And I'm wondering if during this timeout, Coach Floyd might think, all right, we rolled the dice enough with Hunter. Maybe get him out for the last minute of this half.
You know, I to stay away from exchanges that put him in jeopardy of picking up the third foul. He's done that so far.
He really has done a good job of that.
Yep.
Well, you look at how close this game is. Both teams are shooting around 50%. Both teams are pretty much even in the rebound department. It's 13-12 in that department. There's not a whole lot to distinguish the two, and that's why we're tied at 27. And by the way, Coach Floyd did use the time to get Hunter out of the game.
He did, and that was a wise decision. The game being tied, there's no way Florida Atlantic is going to pull away that much with Vince out of the game.
Raffington, no. Lacunza, no. Vince got it.
You know, in the NBA, we have a couple of NBA-level coaches here. A lot of teams will go 2 for 1 in that scenario. Colleges tend to just let it play out. But now, Florida Atlantic can hold for one shot.
Shot clock turned off. You see the time remaining in the first half. Butler ready to go now. It's 10. Lacunza. Boy, the first half comes to a close. Coach Floyd not happy about something as his Miners exit stage right. The Owls and UTEP are tied at 27. Good half.
A very good half. And the Owls have come to play. The energy of Raffington has set the tone. UTEP is going to have to play better in the second half to get out of here.
Mick Schaefer, Mark Adams will be in the ASN studios when we return on ASN. At 27, a busy night in Conference USA. Everybody's playing. So let's check out what's going on around the league. And how about Marshall? They're coming on strong all of a sudden.
Yeah, maybe they're not subpar. I mean, they got a couple of nice wins in the last couple of weeks there.
That's their third win. One of those nice wins against these Miners of UTEP. FIU leading by 1 will be in Miami on Saturday for FIU and UTEP here on ASN. Middle Tennessee leading by 10 at the half. Western Kentucky up big over North Texas, and coming up later, real good win between La Tech and UAB. Both teams in the top 3 in the standings. We look at La Tech, Western Kentucky tied at the top, and then a real log jam. You go 1 through 5, basically.
Well, and remember, Dave, the Conference USA tournament is the top 4 get a bye. You saw who was there. And then Florida Atlantic is trying to play their way into the tournament. If it started tonight, they would not be in. Southern Miss is not eligible, so they're only going to be 12 of the 14 teams that will be in the postseason tournament. So this is kind of big for Florida Atlantic.
And with that win by Marshall, Tim, gives them 3 wins.
Exactly.
FAU, this puts even more importance on this game here tonight.
That's the team they're chasing.
Well, we start with a missed bunny by the Miners in the second half.
Well, Tim Floyd's a great coach. Everybody knows it, well documented. Goes right to Hunter, right out of the locker room. They got him a point-blank shot, but he smoked it away.
How about this? Washburn guarding Marquand Botley, and a shot from the wing, no good, but a foul going for the rebound.
Jackson Trapp kind of rushed that three-point attempt in the corner. He's really not himself tonight. He did knock down that one deep one, but he's nursing that foot injury that he suffered a few games ago.
That foul is on Penn, and that's his third. So one of the best defensive players for the Owls is in foul trouble.
Straight man for man.
Hunter, that quick burst of speed, gets into the paint. Would have counted had it gone. He'll go to the line.
And Tim Floyd, he understands the skill set of Hunter. The plays he runs, he run a lot of isolation for their power forward, Hunter. And that time, the freshman C.J. Turman, no match for Hunter, had the foul.
Hunter, for him anyway, kind of a so-so first half with only 5 points and a couple of rebounds. Hunter is the guy that averages almost 16 and 10 on the year. He is a 4-time Conference USA Player of the Week. 4 times.
And he's on the preseason all-conference team along with Julian Washburn for UTEP. So, obviously, his accolades precede him. And so far, he hasn't quite lived up to what you expect. But again, he was saddled with those fouls.
Look at Washburn. I just love watching a guy that is that good defensively. You see the way he worked off that screen and then still got back to block the shot. Unbelievable. Now Harris turns him at the other end.
How about the body language? The English from Omega Harris. A big-time move in traffic.
I don't think we show defense enough. Let's show some from Julian Washburn. Well, there's the offense first.
Omega, and that picks up Raffington, picks up another foul there. But Washburn's on-ball defense was exceptional. And again, at 6'8", guarding the 5'10", Marquand Botley, who is kind of a speed demon in his own right. But he stayed right with him and forced a turnover. This is a great matchup. You see there out front, the 6'8" Washburn guarding the little point guard.
Poole, a guy that was really absent in that first half, starts off the second half like he finished the first.
Omega Harris, number 2, just love his game as a freshman for UTEP.
Poole's the guy who's 0 for 5 in this game, and a rare air ball thrown out by Vince Hunter.
Vince has not quite gotten into the flow. Hunter has been the hunt head so far tonight.
Raffington, no. Long rebound. That comes out to C.J. Cooper. Cooper waiting for the pitch.
Moving. Yep.
And it was a moving screen. Well, we talked about Washburn and his defense, Tim. Let's look at this.
Tech on Tim Floyd, but take a look at Washburn getting through the screens, feeling it, and at 6'8", able to use his length. A lot of times, Marquand Botley takes that floater. He couldn't even get it off with the length of Washburn.
So at the other end, we saw just before we looked at that highlight, a technical foul called on Tim Floyd.
Yeah. He earned it. I'll say that. He popped off that bench, breathing fire.
So Trapp will shoot the free throws. He's an 84% free throw shooter.
And you know, coaches that are experienced like Floyd, everything they do is calculated. I believe that technical foul was calculated. His team doesn't quite have the energy necessary to get out of this building with a win right now. A lot of times, a technical foul, believe it or not, actually energizes the team that got the technical foul because they get together and say, look, man, coach is really upset with the way we're playing. Let's pick it up. If you have good leadership, that's what happens. Let's see what happens for UTEP.
Pacing his own sideline, lost in his thoughts. Also barking at Cedric Lang as he came back over to the bench. He is heavily involved right now, Tim Floyd.
You talked about his resume. You know, he was the assistant coach for Don Haskins for many years. The movie Glory Road was made for the life of Don Haskins, but particularly that 1966 UTEP team that started 5 black players in the national championship and beat Kentucky in 1966, a groundbreaking game.
And Tim, wasn't it interesting when Coach Floyd told us he was used as an advisor on that film because Coach Haskins wanted to make sure they got all the basketball stuff right. And a lot of the parts they had to rewrite because Coach Floyd said, no, we wouldn't say this.
Yeah, the dialogue. They wanted the on-court activity to be authentic. And Tim Floyd, we could thank him for that because it turned out terrific.
Turman loses the handle. Here comes Hunter. And a whistle and a foul out front by Botley.
And that's the difference between Hunter and Kenneth Fareed. The ball handling skills. dribbling that ball coast to coast in traffic, coming at you, a.k.a. LeBron James-like. I mean, I'm not saying he's LeBron. Don't get it twisted. But a guy at 6'8" that can dribble in traffic like that, that's a skill set that most guys his size don't have at the age of 19, 20 years old.
And just that move with the right hand, like turning it over and in and out and doing all that, and then that move and the strength that it takes to complete that play.
And the real reason why the scouts are here, that engine in the paint. I mean, this guy brings it. And, I mean, look at the C.J. Turnman is every bit the size and strength of Hunter. But Hunter was no match for him right there. Just an easy shot and a three-point play opportunity.
Missed a few free throws in this game. By the way, Turnman on that play picked up his third foul.
Vince Hunter is only a 61% free throw shooter, and he takes a ton of them. So if he could get that a little bit higher, get it into the 70s, it could mean a difference.
Botley, no banking on that one.
They've seen that before in El Paso, Texas, but this time the crime takes place in Boca Raton.
Got the crowd back involved.
This has been a loud, boisterous student section trying to cheer on what, in many people's mind in this conference, would be an upset.
Well, FAU is sort of just going through the motions in the second half until this happened, Tim.
Well, if you leave them open, we talked about those three perimeter players. Marquand Botley with a big splash.
The burrowing kind of owl, not the ones that made nests up in the tree, but owls that burrowed in. And so they called this place the Burrow. And, of course, that's why they have the nickname the Owls. You look at Marquand Botley, kid who's just a sophomore. He was on the all-freshman team a year ago, and he is really an outstanding young player. No basket. Foul came first.
Kelvin Penn now drew the short straw, guarding all that isolation stuff that they do for Hunter. And now Raffington with his 3 fouls, checking back into the game.
Well, that's because Penn has 4. So even though Hunter has 8 points, he's causing all kinds of havoc for the Owls as Penn, their best defensive player, picks up 4 fouls. And on the inbounds play, Washburn flushes it home.
Turnman's got 3 as well. So,
right.
You know, they don't go very deep at that position after those 3 guys. So this could get interesting.
Shot clock under 10 now. Botley, quick shot, but what a recovery. Man, oh man. Washburn closed so much ground.
And he had a little help from his friends, too. The length of Hooper Vent as well as Vince Hunter in on that block party.
How does a guy, though, 6'8", Tim, how does he guard a guy 5'10" in that quick?
Nice play.
Back door. And instead of going for the easy 2, Harris went for showtime.
And he almost pulled it off, but instead a long miss and a transition opportunity. But to answer your question, Dave, quick feet. At 6'8", he's got the feet of a 6'2" guy. And with that length, it just adds to it. I understand why Coach Floyd, again, he's coached in the NBA for a few teams.
Right.
And now he's saying this kid is the best defensive player he's seen guarding the ball. And a testament is the fact that he's guarding the point guard for most of this second half so far.
All right, when you're coaching, did you even have to say anything to a player like Harris? He knows he messed up, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're not going to say anything to him, but you're going to pull his butt onto the bench, and that's what happened.
That's right.
You're not going to say a word to him. He knows. We'll take a look at this post-entry here, and Raffington continues to impact this game big time as C.J. Turnman, the recipient of that dime, with a chance for the conventional 3-point play.
Turnman now with 7 points. And FAU is forged in front. They lead by 1, nearing the 14-minute mark.
when you look at these teams, don't look at records, don't look at anything else. The talent level on both these teams is equal to me.
Tipped home. That's a rebound and 2 for Vince Hunter.
Vince Hunter simply impacts the game in a positive manner, and that's why UTEP is a very good team. You take him out of this lineup, still a decent team, but he makes them a high-level Conference USA team.
Already 10 points for Vince Hunter and climbing. Foul here is on C.J. Cooper. That's 2 on Cooper. There were only 4 team fouls on Tim Floyd's Miners in that first half. We're seeing more fouls called here in the second half. Turman loses the handle.
Just careless right there by Turman. One-handing it.
The alley-oop to guess who? Vince Hunter.
My goodness. Did he take the elevator to the top floor?
And you know what? He took the express elevator.
No stops.
He's come to life here in the second half, hasn't he?
Absolutely. You see, we got a little collision at our table here. I assume my partner is all right. I'm okay. Take a look at the lob and look at him elevate and send it home with authority. A great dime by C.J. Cooper. And you have to love having a guy like that at the other end of that pass.
All smiles right now for Hunter. He's going to come out for just a quick breather.
He'll be back.
Oh, yeah. And Brian Hornstein has checked in, a guy who seldom plays for the Owls. But another 7-footer. Three
fouls on 3 bigs. You're trying to buy time now. Hornstein capable of giving you good minutes.
There's Hornstein. Not shy at all. That, by the way, ties his career high at 2 points.
You don't know how hard that is to do, Dave. You got a guy doesn't know if he's even going to play tonight. You have to be ready at all times. And Hornstein rising to the occasion immediately.
You never know who's going to step up for you. Morris loses the handle. Botley's really been bottled up by Washburn here in the second half. Look at how many screens they run, and isn't it interesting that Washburn goes over those screens? That's a two-pointer for Raffington.
Revved up Raffington. This guy, that was a 2-pointer. He's mad at himself because he stepped on that line. But for all intents and purposes, that was a 3-point attempt, and he knocked it down again.
Most points he's scored in any game this year. He's now got 17.
Still got 12 minutes to go.
Good ball fake again. Missed from the short corner, though, and Trapp makes it 1 and done.
And Dave, to get back to what you were saying about going over the ball screen, he better go over that screen, because if he steps behind it, he's going to pull the trigger from 3.
Massey, no. Tough hitting those threes tonight for FAU. They're 3 for 12.
The transition defense in this game, both these coaches understand how important it is to limit fast breaks and make people go up against your 5-man defensive set.
Three-pointer. Hooper Vint, no. Almost poked away by Morris. Raffington.
Too much space to operate right there. You have to crowd him, or he's going to light you up as he is doing right now.
7 straight points by the Owls. And a timeout taken by Hooper Vint as he was falling out of bounds.
Coach Floyd called that timeout, and it was brilliant. Take a look at Raffington showing us what he can do from downtown.
So Raffington with a 2-pointer, 2 of his 19 game-high Niners, and what Coach Floyd is trying to do here tonight.
We talked about the need for speed, Dave. They have been kept out of transition. They've had to go up against the 5-man defense. Tough to do for 40 minutes, but the top gun Vince Hunter, you see him emerging from that huddle. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 for 8. He's starting to heat up. We saw that monster dunk in transition. He's eating glass right now, playing a Vince Hunter-like game here in the second half.
I think one of the impressive things for Vince Hunter is he's responsible for 3 guys being in foul trouble for the Owls.
Yeah, that's big.
Penn has 4. Turman and Raffington each have 3 fouls.
They've been forced to play Hornstein, who came right off the bench and popped a jump shot.
Good double, good recognition by Hunter. Cedric Lang, the beneficiary.
And you know what? Hunter is a pretty decent passer. Of course, he sees a ton of double teams. And he did a great job of passing to find your buddy, is what you're taught as a 4. Find that 5-man.
That stops a scoring drought of almost 3 minutes. Another missed 3. Now, just 2 of 12 from three-point range for the Owls. And consider this, they're just 5 of 23 in their loss to FIU earlier this week.
Yeah, not a good shooting week so far for the Florida Atlantic Owls.
Washburn. Lang. Well, he saw that there was Hornstein right there, and he took advantage, full advantage. The last 4 points now belong to Cedric Lang.
And you know, people may not think kids are recognizing that, but he did. He saw a guy that barely made his scouting report. He said, hey, I'm taking this guy. And if the double team doesn't come, Lang is a really good player with his left and right hand. You saw the lefty hook on display.
Boy, Washburn reached in real quick, almost had a steal. Instead, a foul on Julian Washburn. We got a timeout. Don't go anywhere. A 1-point game from FAU. The Miners leading by 1. We'll be right back. Look at Conference USA. Tightly bunched at the top, tightly bunched in the middle, tightly bunched at the bottom. There's not a lot of separation, Tim, by Conference USA teams. Who do you think are some of the elite teams in this league?
Well, you know, Louisiana Tech, coached by Mike White, terrific team. And you look at them right at the top at 8-1. Western Kentucky trying to hang tight as well. Those two, and I had UTEP up there as well. But they've taken a couple of tough losses, and they're in another tight one here. But they need this one and the one on Saturday to try to keep pace with those top 2 teams. But Louisiana Tech's top 3, they have 3 first-team all-conference players, and well-deserved.
And there's a whistle and a foul on Omega Harris. That's 2 on Harris.
Raheem Appleby, Kenneth Speedy Smith, and Alex Hamilton, 3 of the best players in the nation, and that combination is deadly for Louisiana Tech. And, you know, I got into it a little bit with Jay Billis. It was a one-way conversation on Twitter. But
he's not tweeting back.
Yeah, he said that Speedy Smith was the best on-ball defender in the country, and he is very good. But I had to give it to Briante Weber for VCU, who unfortunately tore his MCL and ACL last weekend versus Richmond in a loss for 18th ranked VCU.
I'm going to add a name to that. I think Julian Washburn has been added to my list of best on-ball defender I've seen.
Absolutely. This kid can bottle you up. There he is with the ball at the top. But on the defensive end, we see him guarding at least 3 positions so far tonight. And Coach Boyd said he can guard all 5 at this level.
Again, there's that quick move. All of a sudden, he kind of lulls you to sleep. Does a little bounce, 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 and then boom, he's off.
Yeah, and it's so tough to stop. Take a look at this, Dave. First, he reads where the double is coming because he knows it's coming. And then he saw that he could split that double and get to open space. And with his explosive jumping as well as his shoulders and power, able to power through most contact and score.
That was a good-looking free throw there. The best one of the bunch tonight for Vince Hunter. He is just 3 of 6 from the line. And guess what? Another guy coming in to somehow try to stop Vince Hunter. Consider this. Turman has 4 fouls. Penn has 4 fouls. And on that last play, Raffington just picked up his 3rd.
All big. And Coach Curry is going to run out of big bodies. And we still got almost 9 minutes to play. He'll have to try to get there.
So you try to do it with a 3-point shot. And Lacunza can't get that to go. And look at Hunter run the floor. Wow.
Well, you'll give him credit for running the floor. I call that cherry picking. He got caught up in a collision at half court and never made it back on defense.
You can't call that cherry picking when you make a catch like that.
Great catch, no doubt. See if we can take a look. The shot from Lacunza from the corner goes up, and then, look, he's not in the picture. He's already down there. He and Marquand Botley had a collision at half court, and it cost FAU.
Good job that time by Botley to just kind of stop and let Washburn run him over.
Great job.
Cherry picking is me at the Y. That's not cherry picking.
He's got a basket full of cherries right there. I'm sorry.
Cherry picking is a guy like me who's out of shape, can't run down to both ends of the court. That's not cherry picking. All right, here comes Penn back in.
So now you'll start to see, even this early, defense to offense substitutions.
Justin Massey also checking back in for the Owls.
We haven't talked about Justin Massey much at all tonight. Very quiet. Averaging 8 points a game, a freshman walk-on.
Yeah, and he's really been special of late in the absence of Jackson Trapp, who was out for 3 games. In those 3, he was in double figures in all of them.
Hasn't scored tonight, just 2 rebounds. Very quiet game. His brother plays at Brown. He wanted to play at Yale, didn't quite have enough of a high enough ACT score. Kind of tough to get in Yale from what they tell me.
I think so. Lang, and did you say after Raffington had to back away?
He didn't
want a foul. He's already got 3.
And he backed up late because that was a lot of contact that could have been called. But again, 3 very good officials all over that one, not calling the foul.
So all of a sudden, UTEP went on almost a 3-minute scoring drought. They're 5 of their last 7. They've hit their last 4 field goals in a row. Solomon pulled with his first points of the game. He had missed his first 6 shots from the field,
including a breakaway dunk. And, you know, he didn't sulk and didn't put his head down. He kept playing through it. He finally got an open look, and he drains it.
Coach Floyd, I'm sure he wants to go back inside against those bigs who were in foul trouble. Lang worms himself underneath Raffington.
That's a real advantage even when there is a foul trouble, because Cedric Lane is a baller in the paint. He gets it within 5 to 10 feet, and he's got an array of moves, and he's not afraid to use them.
Timmy's got 14 now. Now they've moved Harris out to guard Botley. It frees him up just a little bit. 2 Miners fight for the rebound. No. Poole thought he was back on track and misses another 3.
Didn't quite get his feet set. Shot selection is so important, but shot preparation is just as important. When you're waiting for a ball to be swung.
Game that's still up for grabs with Tim Scarborough. I'm Dave Armstrong, and you look at that Miners huddle, and it's very apparent that Tim Floyd has decided we've got to go inside. They are now leading points in the paint, 36-24.
Well, they got the horses to do it, and it's not just Hunter. Cedric Lang, if not double teamed, there's nobody in the Florida Atlantic uniform that can stick with him because of the array of moves with the left and the right hand. He's effective with both. You see him emerging from the huddle there, putting in his mouthpiece, putting on the hard hat, getting ready to go back to work.
All right, would you accept this? Lang and Hunter, they have a combined 29 points. They are a combined 12 for 18 from the field.
Would I accept it if I'm who? Not that guy, Curry. He's not liking what he sees. Right. Tim Floyd certainly is.
Here's Urban Morris. Only 3 points for Morris in this game. He'll get the bonus. Both teams are in the bonus now. Each team with 8 team fouls. This guy is constantly emotional. Coach Floyd, he is a pacer. I know you do the whole 10,000 steps a day deal. Did you get your 10,000 in today?
I did not get it in today.
But you got to keep walking.
The night is young. Should I start walking in place here?
You need to start walking while you're doing this. I think Coach Floyd does 20,000 steps a day.
Easily. If he clocked it, I'm sure. I have my sneakers on. We talked about Jay Billis earlier. I'm wearing my Nike Air Force Ones to be like Jay.
Just be yourself, all right?
I love Jay.
Good enough.
Love Jay.
So
well, he's taller, richer, and
Solomon Poole.
And Solo has hit some big shots just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water. If you're UTEP, Solomon Poole steps up.
0 for his first 6, Tim. He is 3 for his last 4. Two-man game really working well as Lang gets it from Hunter.
Hunter is always isolated. They do a great job of clearing out and giving him space. But again, he's a willing passer. And when Lang is left to run free, he's going to eat you alive.
Motley splits the defense. Throws up a little one in the lane, and Omega Harris has fouled him, and so that'll send Botley to the line. That's 3 on Omega Harris. Botley, by the way, a very good free throw shooter. He is 78% on the year, although in this game 0 for 1.
You know, we talk about a fine line sometimes between winning and losing. That Western Kentucky game, early on, it ended up going to overtime. Washburn had a breakaway dunk, and the ball slips out of his hands. That ends up going to overtime, and they lose it. Omega Harris had a short 2. Baseline, he tried to throw it down and make the highlight reel, and he missed it. See if those types of plays come back to haunt you. Obviously, it's a 40-minute game. They don't make you lose one play, but it does make a difference sometimes.
By the way, during those free throws, Washburn checked back in. Cooper gets it to Lang. Cooper for 3. Lang fighting for that offensive rebound. We got a tie-up.
Good ball.
The Arrow will give the ball to the Owls.
Lang, you talk about pursuit of the basketball. That was a sure rebound for Florida Atlantic, and Lang wormed his way in there and made that one a little bit tougher to get.
Coach Curry doing a good job of alternating Penn and Turman and Raffington and making sure they all stay fresh, because a lot of times you pick up a foul when you're tired.
And not just fresh, he's rolling the dice possession by possession, trying to keep them all out of foul trouble. And with under 5 minutes, doesn't really want to go back with Hornstein. He wants to go with this core group until he's forced.
Poole was looking for Raffington, and he wasn't expecting the pass.
Under 5 minutes now. Obviously crunch time. Let's see if Vince Hunter goes to work.
He did, but he missed. And there's Turman giving it up. Motley.
He got numbers.
Again, going for the highlight reel. When you can do the simple thing, you go for that highlight reel. Wrong thing to do. In a tie ball game, 3:56 remaining in a game still up for grabs. At FIU, 74-63 the final. Middle Tennessee beating Southern Miss. How about this? In the second half, Western Kentucky losing to North Texas. Louisiana Tech up in the first half by only 3.
That Western Kentucky game is in Western Kentucky's gym. A team rich in history, a tough place to go play for most of these CUSA teams, but they're hanging tough.
Not much separation is there in CUSA from the top to the bottom.
No, you know, the talent pool right now is just very nice for this conference, and this was a one-bid league last year. I expect a multiple bid situation here in this season for 2015 for the Conference USA.
See how all that plays out.
Western Kentucky's there. This is their first season in Conference USA, and they are pretty much a perennial NCAA tournament team, and Louisiana Tech is good enough to go, whether they win the conference tournament or not.
And ODU has received votes this year.
ODU is having a very good year. Trey Freeman and Aaron Bako, two of the best guards in the country.
A three-pointer off, no good. There's Hunter with a rebound. Up over Penn.
How about the energy from Hunter? The game goes on. We're 37 minutes into it. He's playing as fresh as a daisy.
54-52 now in favor of UTEP.
And, you know, we saw before the timeout a 3-on-1 break that Florida Atlantic just melted away. Had an opportunity to convert. They went for the big score instead, missed everything. But take a look at Hunter on the glass as always. Pursuit of the basketball is what it's about. And then once he gets in his hands, he knows what to do with it. A handful. Take a look from a different angle. Kelvin Penn got twisted and flushed on as a result.
So Botley goes to the line to shoot two. The foul there was on Hunter, his third. Remember, he picked up two very early in this contest.
Yeah, and he did a great job of nursing himself to halftime, but even in the second half, he's been aggressive, but he stayed out of foul trouble.
Two free throws by Botley ties it up at 54.
And we talked about a fine line between winning and losing, going back to that 3-on-1 that they didn't convert. Let's see if Florida Atlantic, if this game comes down to one possession, those are the kind of plays that you think about.
Lang surveying things. There's Hunter again. Quick move. Would have counted had it gone. And the fifth foul on Kelvin Penn.
What can you do with that, though, Dave? I mean, Kelvin Penn is isolated on Hunter Island. And he was just voted off just now. He's done. DQ.
Into the game for the Owls.
Penn shaking his head like, man, that guy's hard to defend. So Hunter goes to the line. He'll shoot two. Both teams in now the double bonus.
Lacanza comes in. Javier had that breakaway layup earlier. Ornstein is giving Coach Curry some minutes as well. Again, he's running out of bullets. As you see the free throw graphic. Not a good night for UTEP from the charity stripe.
Big points here for Vince Hunter. No team has led by more than 5 in this game.
Kelvin Penn fouled out. They won't have his services. And Hunter only makes one of the two. This game going down to the wire. Can Florida Atlantic execute enough to get out of here with a win?
Think of that loss by UTEP at Western Kentucky. They only hit 50% from the line that night. Botley again being bottled up by Washburn, and a timeout taken here as Coach Curry realized Botley was trapped.
32nd timeout. And a great job by Coach Curry recognizing it. A playlist of 150 songs, he trims that down to 10. You know, just so the kids can understand, hey, we're not going with these other plays. We're only going to run one of these 10. So be ready because execution is important.
So you think you can execute 10 plays? If you thought, I've got to remember 150 plays, that's tough to do.
Oh, it's daunting.
Well, that was not well executed that time by Botley.
And Botley did not deliver that package where it needed to be. No. Raffington is a heck of an athlete. He's 6'11". He couldn't even jump for that pass. It was so high.
So a big turnover at the wrong moment for the Owls.
And you know, we talked about this game being important for the Owls. Trying to turn this season around potentially. Nearly a 5-second call there by Omega Harris, the freshman, unaware, but again, bailed out by his coach.
Tim Floyd takes a timeout. Do you like that? The coach is able to call a timeout
Absolutely.
To help bail out their team?
Yeah, you know, I coached high school for 1 year in the 90s, and it's a nice luxury to have, but it doesn't always work out.
So the shot clock is at 21 as UTEP will inbound the ball. And they do it from underneath their own hoop. Lang gets his own rebound. And he's stopped by Raffington and by the rim.
That's a big-time stop for Florida Atlantic. Raffington held his ground in a big possession as Lang usually converts that close in.
So Botley a chance to redeem himself after throwing it away on the last possession.
Well, I know they're not going to run a lob play this time, given how off Botley was delivering that package.
Shot clock is under 10. Botley trying to get it out, and it was kicked, so that's going to buy the Owls some time. They'll reset the shot clock to 15.
Yeah, that's a great change of the rules from a few years ago. It's not really fair to give them 35 more seconds, but anytime the ball is kicked and the shot clock is no, they're looking at maybe reducing the overall shot clock to 30 seconds as they do in the women's game.
So let's see what play Coach Curry has drawn up here.
You know, we were at shoot-around earlier today, and I was telling you, Dave, that a lot of the sets that Coach Curry runs are NBA-style sets designed to isolate certain players. Let's see what they run here.
Well, Coons has got it. He'll give it up to Poole. Fadeaway jumper. That's way short. In fact, an air ball.
We talk about shot selection. That was a poor shot attempt by Poole. At a
1-point lead, Tim. Playing out the last minute of regulation.
If you're Florida Atlantic, you need to stop. And more importantly, you don't want to foul.
Little floater thrown up. There's Lang fighting for the rebound, but Raffington's got it. Poole in a 2-on-1 break. Raffington, no! Whistle and a foul.
Going the other way.
Wow, 2 cracks at it for the Owls.
And Solo is having a tough night. Let's take a look at Poole. Tried to get the angle. Omega runs by him, but he just didn't have a good angle to finish. But Raffington, in my opinion, should have gathered and went up and flushed that thing with 2 hands. By flying in there like that, he took himself right out of the play, and it cost him a short 2 points.
Again, both teams in the double bonus, so this will be 2 free throws for C.J. Cooper, who is a 70% free throw shooter. His first free throws of the night.
If the Owls lose this game, they'll have themselves to blame because they had a couple of opportunities to execute and they just didn't step up.
Tim Floyd looking at his playbook with a 2-point lead. He's hoping to have a 3-point advantage. The Owls have struggled from 3-point land in this game. They've only hit 3 all night. And a 3-point lead for the Miners. Timeout taken.
30 seconds. Timeout.
So Tim Floyd down to 1 timeout. FAU has 2. 57.
Figuring things out versus a team that's still trying to figure things out.
You make a good point because we've talked about how the Owls, Tim, they have been in so many close situations, but they haven't been able to finish the deal. And here tonight, with the game on the line, they missed 2 bunnies at the rim. They threw 1 away. They had 2 possessions in a row where they just had silly turnovers.
Poor shot selection by Poole. The missed layup by Poole, not to put it all on him, but he hasn't had the type of game. He's the leading scorer on this team, and he is giving them a real shot in the arm offensively, 15 points a game. But his game is off tonight.
Botley, and he misses 1 at the rim. Rebounded by Hunter, and now UTEP can taste it. They have a 3-point lead already. Hunter will be shooting 2 free throws, and man, there's a seal all of a sudden over that Owl basket.
Again, difference between making a play and not making a play. A great job by Botley to get to the rim, but he's got to finish that shot. And Raffington, something that will go unnoticed, set an unbelievable screen to free Botley up on that shot, but he missed the layup.
That's a big free throw right there by Hunter because it makes it a 2-possession game.
It does. And Florida Atlantic is up against it now. And if Hunter can seal this one, can knock this one down, he could seal the deal. 5 for 10 from the line tonight, though.
Gets his own rebound. So he'll go right back to the line again. How do you not block out the shooter? That's another mental miscue.
How does that happen? Now, this guy's an amazing rebounder, but there's no way in the world that he should get his own rebound in a free throw situation in the biggest one of the game.
So both Solomon Poole and Jackson Trapp were there, but neither one of them bothered to box out the shooter.
Right.
Trapp went in, and the rebound went up over his head.
So with that configuration of free throws, those two guys have to talk.
Yes.
One gets the shooter, one pursues the ball. They did it again. Neither one of them blocked out the shooter. Little things.
6-point advantage now for the Miners. That's a good pass. And there is Raffington.
Kind of
Quick
interesting.
timeout by the Owls.
That it's interesting that Tim Floyd elected to scramble and trap there, because if they do break it, that's what happens. You get a quick, have their heads up, and if you flash to the basket, they'll deliver it.
So you look at Justin Raffington, he had a huge first half. UTEP did a better job in the second half of bottling it up and making life more difficult for him.
But Raffington, we talked about him getting revved up. He certainly showed up tonight, ready to rise to the challenge. And again, Coach Curry said he just can't get those quality performances from all five on every night, because when they do, they're a good team.
Washburn hangs on to it until someone fouls him. Not much time left the clock. 18 seconds remaining. And Washburn, who's a 70% free throw shooter, he'll go to the line.
Solomon Poole has 8 points tonight, but he played a subpar game, in my opinion. If they would have gotten a decent night out of him, 3 of 10, and, you know, he missed the dunk, he missed the layup, took a tough shot late in a possession, or early in a possession that was key. Didn't have the best game. If they would have got a better game from him, they might have come out of here with a win.
Anytime you have more field goal attempts than points, you know you did not have a good night offensively.
Very true, especially when you're not particularly a volume shooter.
Back to a 6-point advantage. And a block. What else can this guy do for you? Are you a believer now in Julian Washburn?
Well, you know, Coach Tim Floyd said he was the best defensive player that he's ever coached. He's coached for 38 years. He was Don Haskins' assistant for many years here at UTEP. But I'm telling you what, and again, his NBA experience with the Bulls and the New Orleans Hornets at the time, and Washburn is the best defensive player he's ever coached. Unbelievable. That's crazy. Again, Washburn, the son of Chris Washburn, that used to play for North Carolina State back in the 80s and 90s. As Hunter has had a nightmare from the free throw line tonight.
Well, an important road win for the Miners here tonight in Boca Raton. Will send them to 15-7 on the year. Poole throws up another 3 that won't go. And now Harris will just dribble things out, and that'll do it. So UTEP, they close well at Tim Floyd's team. A well-earned victory, and the Owls burrow.
UTEP is a team, a force to be reckoned with. They were on the road. It wasn't easy. Coach Tim Floyd knew it wouldn't be easy, but he's got to feel real good about getting out of here with a win.
How impressed were you with Vince Hunter? Taking a look at him tonight.
Vince Hunter is everything that we thought he would be. He got in foul trouble, wasn't able to bring a lot of energy in the first half, but they turned him loose in the second half. He was exceptional. He's got the body, he's got the mind, he's got the skill set to take it to the next level. I'm sure the 12 NBA scouts were impressed with Vince Hunter.
Florida Atlantic disappointed again. They come close, but again, no cigar.
And that's the story all night.
So you look at the Miners here tonight with an impressive win, and I thought the most impressive part, Tim, was the way they closed out this game.
Good teams close.